Welcome to Silicon Valley Successes. We interview experts and entrepreneurs to give the world access to the knowledge and experience that is here in Silicon Valley. Our mission is to create opportunities for those who seek them and help you to become the next Silicon Valley success.
Welcome to Silicon Valley Successes. So on today's show, we have Jock, who is a social media expert. He works with companies from early stage to corporations to plan their social media and give them tips and tricks on best practices and how to succeed. But before we start, Jock, could you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks, Sean. Thanks for having me. Really excited to be here. And like you just said, Jock Breitweiser, and I've been dealing with social media for a number of years, and eventually came from a position of not liking it at all to then really becoming a huge fan and starting my own business around it. So I'm excited to be here and share some insights.
Tell me about that journey, because you said you didn't like it.
I did not.
Now you're 9 to 5 and probably 9 to 9 because of Silicon Valley is focused on it. So the transition, tell me about that path.
Yeah, it was an interesting path indeed. And so I initially really ran corporate communications for companies, and so had been running a lot of corporate social media accounts, and so very familiar with that, and obviously a very effective way of getting the name and the brand out there. And then at the same time, I was having my own personal social media accounts on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and after looking at them for a little bit, I realized they didn't really do much for me. So I looked at the people connecting with me, I looked at the people looking at my profiles, and it just wasn't the right people. I didn't get any traction, I didn't get any kind of results. And I came to a point where I essentially decided to just pull the plug and just get out of it and, and not continue it anymore, because there was no point, I thought, for me in doing so. And then,
when you're saying you didn't get any results, are you saying no one liked your tweets, or no one reposted, or what wasn't? Or just no one responded to your messages?
I wasn't so much looking for fame or anything like that. I was, so for example, on LinkedIn, just looking at the people that visited my profile, looking at the kind of connections I made. There just was not really the right kind of audience that I was looking to engage with. So I was looking for, let's say, mentors or people that I could connect with professionally and learn from, right? Or maybe that would, help me in my career development. And there was nothing like that. It was mostly salespeople. And nothing against that. It was just not what I was looking for personally at that point in time. And
so it was more of a nuisance than anything.
Well, I wouldn't call it that, but it definitely didn't really benefit me in that sense. And so because I decided then to essentially get out of it, I figured I might as well just mess with the system a little bit and see what happens. And so I started turning the screws a little bit and posting things that otherwise I wouldn't have posted. And all of a sudden I saw actually really interesting results. And so that intrigued me, and then I started just digging a little bit deeper and started essentially just fine-tuning the system and learning a little bit more about social media and how you can actually really drive it with a purpose. And once I started doing that, it became amazingly impactful. And so I learned from that lesson and then really changed my entire approach to it.
So if I'm an early stage company and I want to start a social media campaign, drive it with a purpose, as you just said, what should my initial thought be? How do I plan it out? What are the steps? And I know that's a huge question, but take your time. What should my thought process be?
Yeah, it can be a really big question, right? But at the same time, it can be very simple, right? And at the end of the day, the biggest thing that you need to have is you need to have a purpose. You need to think about what you're trying to achieve. And many individuals, as well as companies that I'm engaging with, they essentially just go on social media because they feel it's a necessity, and they just want to get their name out, and they're trying the best they can. And in many cases, that is not really a good strategy. Because it just means you're going to pump out content without really a whole lot of purpose. There's no positioning, right? You don't have a goal that you aim for. And so, thinking about the perspective of what you're trying to get out of it. So, for example, are you looking to get people to visit your profile? Are you looking to maybe get people to attend webinars or watch specific episodes of a TV show, right?
Okay.
Things like that. You have to think about that from that perspective, and then essentially reverse engineer, think about, okay, so what's, what is attracting those people? Who are they? What are they looking to get out of it? And why should they be engaging with me on social media of all things?